Hello and welcome to GameBreaker, the videos where we talk about games. Applause. Anyways, so first, before I get into the Tales of the Borderlands review, I feel the need to explain how this all works, what exactly I'm going to be reviewing, and how. So first, let's get into the how because that's a lot easier. How it's just gonna be a conversation, me and you, starting a dialogue, um, between friends, and I've always thought that's how reviews should go. It should just be one person talking to another person, kind of word of mouth type stuff. So that's honestly how it's going to be presented. There's no fancy high production cameras or anything around here. I'm not going to be like, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, camera 1. You won't see any gameplay as to avoid any type of spoilers, especially on this review. So, that's the how. What about the, what about review essentials and stuff like that? What am I going to be reviewing? Well, it's going to be a game every time. That's what GameBreaker is. And the reasoning for that is it's just going to be a game, and I'm going to talk about games. I'm going to tell you what I saw, and I'm going to relay that information to you, and you decide whether or not you want to buy this or not. So let's get started with the review about 2 minutes into the video. So I am reviewing Tales from the Borderlands Episode 1, Zer0. There's been a lot of confusion about whether people are reviewing the entire series as a whole or episode by episode, because Telltale is doing something different. And so let's get to the things that are different about it, as opposed to games like The Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead. I'm sorry, my mind blanked there for a minute. So first, I have to tell you the Telltale way, how Telltale makes their games. So Telltale releases an episode every. It's kind of an unreliable schedule. It might be once a month or once every few months, but they release once at least every quarter. And there's always 5 episodes. With Game of Thrones, that's going to change, but for now, there have been 5 episodes. Tales from the Borderlands has 5 episodes. Walking Dead has 5 episodes, 2 seasons. And those 5 episodes make up the season. So The Wolf Among Us is season 1. If they do a season 2, there will be Wolf Among Us season 2, episode 1, stuff like that. And they release each episode for $4.99, or $5 wherever you're from. And you get past that first episode, you can decide, okay, I want to buy the rest of the episodes. I want to buy episodes 2 through 5. Or in the Game of Thrones case, I know it's not out yet, but I'm assuming it'll be 2 through 6. Or 2 through 5, and then you'll have to buy that next episode. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So that's the Telltale way. Oh wow, YouTube uploading is going fantastic today. I uploaded that 6 minutes ago. Cool. Anyways, back to Tales from the Borderlands, Episode 1, Zer0. And yes, that is a very long name. So I need to tell you what has changed, what is new to this formula. The thing that's new to this formula is, well, one, the setting. It's set in a already established universe. Now, I know Fables, which is the Wolf Among Us series, and The Walking Dead have already had lots and lots of lore, but this was the first time Telltale has actually gone in and said, we're making a video game based off a video game that has two or three games based upon it. And I will get into my history with the Borderlands franchise in just a minute, but I need to tell you what's changed. So other than the obvious, it's set in Borderlands now. It's set on Pandora now. It tells a story more. It's been compared to a lot to the movie Big Fish, where it tells a tale that spans two characters, Fiona and Reese. In fact, they kind of make fun of his name a few times in the game. And one character can be like, that's not how it happened. And you can actually choose how it happens. Now, sometimes there are some canned mechanics where it's like, that's not how it happened. Because you chose wrong. But it is welcome. I don't know if anyone has mentioned it, but the choices actually... They don't... The monetary choices don't make much of a difference in the game. But the choices like, oh, it was a vault hunter that showed up here. Or, this guy showed up. It affects your story, from what I understand. I'll have to watch... I'll have to watch more stuff. Let me just turn this thing on silent. This was the phone I was talking about in Let's Vlog. Anyways, back to the review. The choices seem a lot more profound now, because it says, all right, who do you want to appear here and why? Do you want to help this person out or harm them? And it shows a lot in the franchise. In fact, no, video's been published. In fact, a lot of the times Telltale makes fun of its own choices. It's really cool. Like one of them in the left-hand corner of it said something along the lines of "good idea." Because I previously would have said, like, not do the opposite of that. So that's really what's changed. 2 characters, still 5 episodes. You can't buy the season pass, I don't think yet. So, yeah, that's really all that's changed other than the way it's been released. So if you are not familiar to how Tales from the Borderlands Episode 1 Zer0 was released, it was released on Steam, which is a PC distributor of games. If you don't know that, then sorry. And on their Telltale store, as well as PS3 and PS4. And then today, it came to Xbox One, and yeah, I think today was the only day that it came to Xbox. I think Xbox One is the only platform it came to today. But feel free to correct me in the comments, because there's a whole staggered schedule. And I think I think the PS4 but anyways, the release schedule changed, so it's not all happening weeks apart now. Like I purchased The Wolf Among Us on PS3, but is available I think a day or two earlier on Xbox 360. But I had the season pass for Wolf Among Us on PS3, so, and I already had made that progress, so I wasn't gonna rehash all that on 360 because money. So it's kind of different now that the tables have turned. It's PC lead platform, and then PlayStation, then Xbox One, then Xbox 360, then Europe in December 3rd. And I don't think we'll even get another episode until after that. But anyways, enough talking about what's new. First we have to talk about the story. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything in case I want to do a spoilers episode. But this story is really, really good. You start off the story with narration by Marcus, who you might remember from pretty much every Borderlands games. I think he's even in the pre-sequel, which would make sense since he's in Borderlands 1. And Borderlands the pre-sequel takes place in between that. So, actually, I guess before I get into story, I should talk about my relation with Borderlands. Because this is a heavy Borderlands game. I played Borderlands 1 on 360. I owned it. I didn't own any of the DLC packs because I know how heavy the game is on DLC. And I just figured, I'll buy the Game of the Year edition if I want. That never happened. I played Borderlands, the original, up to, I think, level 11. Then I just got bored. I was like, alright, it's a Diablo style first-person shooter. I don't like it. And then a few years later, when Borderlands 2 was announced, I read the Game Informer article. I was really, really hyped for it. I didn't buy it when it came out because I was like, I don't have the money for this. There's the XYZ other games coming out that month. Let's see. I did rent out a copy of Borderlands 2 from my friend. I borrowed it from him for about a weekend or a week. I can't remember. I really liked Borderlands 2, but there's so much stuff. There was already DLC for it, so I was like, all right, I can't beat this. Then December, around Christmas time last year, I actually went out and bought Borderlands 2 without Season Pass, just vanilla Borderlands 2 on PS3. So I own it now, but I played to where I played on 360, and I haven't really ever picked it up again because I've been playing so many games. I'll probably eventually play it when this drought happens. Because I think every game that's coming out now has already come out. Besides The Crew, and there's an open beta for that, so that's really... I haven't played the pre-sequel. I wasn't really excited for it. And I really haven't played that much Borderlands aside from a few leveling things. And I always play the Gunzerker and Borderlands 2, or the Soldier, just a heavy guns class. I always play the guns class if it's a first-person shooter because I want to see how the guns feel. They feel great, by the way. So going into Tales from the Borderlands, I knew a little about the basics of the Borderlands story. I knew who Handsome Jack was. I knew what Pandora was. I knew pretty much everything there was to know, besides like little side characters that they put in the game. I didn't spend very much time with Mad Moxie. Yeah, I don't really spend a lot of time just questing and doing all that stuff. I don't really have time for it. I don't really have time to sink my teeth into Borderlands. So it was really refreshing when I went into Tales from the Borderlands, and it felt like coming home. Because it really does feel like coming home, because when the game first starts up, it asks you for your Telltale account, stuff like that. I don't know why it asks you for your Telltale account, because at the end of the episode, Zer0, it says, hey, go to this link, and I can't even remember the link. It was like a short link to my choices, like see a more detailed list of my choices. I've not been able to access that yet. I don't know if they're waiting on 360 or what, but I hope they get that up soon. So they asked me for my Telltale account, all that shenanigans. I hadn't created one. This is actually the first that actually uses Telltale's website in conjunction with the game, so it might be a coming feature. I don't know. It would be really nice if it tracked my Walking Dead stuff. But that aside, let's see. It just felt like coming home because at the beginning, after you set up everything, you basically just begin the game, and Marcus starts narrating the way he always does. It's like, so you want, like, in a story kind of way, and that was really, really refreshing. And then after his narration's done, we kind of get a flash forward. At least what I assume is a flash forward. But I'm not going to spoil too much about that part. But it's basically, from what I saw, it was a cold open. It just said, we're going to drop you in this world. We're not going to tell you anything. And I love how Telltale does that, because previously, like in Wolf Among Us or Walking Dead, it just kind of guide you through it. Like, all right, cool, we'll figure out who you are, and then we'll get going from there. But this just says, all right, this is the future. That's what happened. And it's kind of this, like I said earlier, this big fish story, like one character saying one thing and another character saying the other. And the stories are really, really, really diverse. Reese is a Hyperion lackey. And everything about the Hyperion crew is just very sinister, like they're the bad guys. And in fact, they're not the only bad guys. In fact, the game does a lot of references to Borderlands. It says, "Oh, these Vault Hunters are terrible people," and it really just the story just humanizes the Pandoran conflict, which is really mind-boggling. In fact, it actually made me want to go back and play Borderlands 1 and 2 and the pre-sequel. It wanted me to play it. I basically want to go back, buy every DLC for Borderlands as well as the game. Same with Borderlands 2. I want to do that now. I want to buy every single Borderlands game and consume it. Because it pricks that point in a gamer's heart where it's like, alright, there's your emotional side. Now we want you to play the first-person shooter edition, which if it was paced, I can't remember pacing in Borderlands, but I remember pretty similar. The game just does a really good job of saying, we are Borderlands, and if we screw this up, we're sorry. And it really doesn't ever screw it up. It just has a Borderlands feel to it, especially with the Marcus opening. And there's choice characters in there as well, that you will recognize from the mainline Borderlands games. I'm not going to spoil who, obviously, but there are quite a bit of references to Borderlands, especially that of Handsome Jack, which I'm not going to spoil how he's involved in the game, but he is involved, I will say that. So it's a nice connective tissue to Borderlands 2, at least. And even, I think even some people from the DLCs of Borderlands 2 show up. And honestly, it's more on the Borderlands 2 side of lore than anything, because, yeah, there might be some people that show up from Borderlands 1, but I wouldn't know if they showed up from Borderlands 1 because I didn't complete the entire game. Yeah, but the story is really, really great. The characters, Vaughn, Yvette, Vasquez, Reese, Fiona, it's just a great ensemble. The voice acting is impeccable. In fact, a couple of times I didn't. I kind of wish that some high-profile people weren't in it, because I was like, I'm associating certain things with them. Because Chris Hardwick's character, which I really, that would be the Vaughn character would absolutely be me in the Borderlands franchise. But he does the best job, because he's kind of your buddy, your pal, and the way the narrative spins its tail from the Borderlands, is it really brings you closer to these characters like Yvette, Vasquez, and Vaughn. They really do feel like your friends. Now, I had some initial problems with the character development, like it tries this Borderlands style thing where it's like, all right, we're gonna introduce him the Borderlands style way, and I was like, I'm not a big fan of it, but I like it because it brings that connective tissue from Borderlands into a Telltale game, which is just fantastic. It's a fan dream come true. Now I wish they could have done this with like X-Files or something like that, but whatever. Let's see. The music in this game is impeccable. Jared Emerson Johnson did a really great job. I mean, some of it doesn't feel like Borderlands music, but it's music nonetheless. Music that you'd expect to be listening to in a Borderlands game. In fact, I'll go out on a limb here and say this doesn't feel like a spinoff. This feels like a main game. Because I mean, just the way it presents itself is just, this is a Borderlands game. We are Borderlands. And just the way that it is. Because, I mean, sure, you don't get to ride around and do all the first-person stuff, but, I mean, it's really cool. And, all the characters are really, really interesting. Especially Fiona's side of it. Because she's a grifter. Not grifter. Yeah, a grifter, con woman. And she's just looking for a way out of Pandora, or her get-rich-quick scheme. And she is really, really interesting. In fact, Reese and Fiona are my two new favorite characters in a video game. I've never seen anything like it. It is amazing what Telltale has been able to achieve. I'm not going to attach a score to this, but based on my personal recommendation, just based on that alone, based on my playtime with it, I would say go out, at least try the demo. I think there's a demo out on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, and maybe even Steam, maybe. Just go try the demo out and see how you like that chapter. Because demos of Telltale games are a chapter long. And really a chapter gives you a good sense for, okay, this is what the game is about. And I'm assuming if it's a typical demo, I'd say it's the first chapter. The full first chapter, which, I mean, it doesn't really give you a good look at Fiona, but it gives you a good look of, this is what the game is. But that's just my assumption. But anyways, my recommendation is to either buy it or try it. Buy it if you love Borderlands type stuff and want to become more immersed, or even if you don't like Borderlands and you want to become more immersed into the Borderlands lore. And try it if you're not so sure on the Telltale thing, or if you're not so sure on how a game can be based on another game. That's my initial opinion, at least. Now, time may change my opinion, but that I'm sticking by my opinion, and I don't feel any further need to explain anything. So, without further ado, that has been Game Breakers Episode 1, Tales from the Borderlands Episode 1, Zero Sum review. And with that, subscribe, like, and comment.